illuminate the dark. I'll spread your wings, pierce through the night. Let your wisdom sing, illuminate the dark.
Well, hello, everybody. Jim Swanson here. I'm the managing partner of the Nanaimo Night Owls, and I've got a couple of coaches with me today, a couple of guys with better beards than I've got, that's for sure. Our head coach, Nanaimo product and everything, Cody Andreychuk, our head coach for the Nanaimo Night Owls, and Colin Birkas, who's the head coach of the Nanaimo Clippers. I thought it'd be fun to get the coaches of the two top teams in Nanaimo on board. And guys, welcome. Thanks for doing this with me here on this Monday morning.
I appreciate you having me on.
So, Cody, I want to quickly start with you. I mean, you grew up in Nanaimo watching the Clippers and going to games. What are your memories of the Clippers and that as your childhood?
Yeah, no, like to go watch them, go watch a couple hockey fights and watch some young guys play. I actually, I don't know how proud I am of this, but I used to hang out with a lot of the Clippers and we used to get in a little bit of trouble off the ice and off the ball field, but we had a good time. And I think the Clippers are such a very impactful organization that's been around in Nanaimo for such a long time. And when you're a young kid, hockey is the sport. If you don't play hockey in high school, you're not cool, right? So the Clippers were always those guys where you kind of looked up to them, and a lot of the guys that I actually went to at Dover Bay played BCHL hockey, whether it was with the Nanaimo Clippers or somebody else. So it's a very cool thing.
And Colin, I mean, we're talking baseball here to some degree, but baseball obviously is something that's part of your family as well, and your son played college ball. And talk about baseball with you and how that plays in.
Yeah, so obviously hockey coach, the son, you assume he's going that route. He was a talented kid, but it's so expensive, like such an expensive sport. And he was talented enough that he was playing, at the AA level. Like probably could have sniffed the AAA level, but his effort level and his passion level just wasn't there. And I don't know, he would have been 12 years old. Knew somebody was running the local rep baseball team. He went for a tryout there. Last kid to make it, I guarantee it. They went to nationals in Langley, and was a bench player. They were getting just stuffed in lockers by every team around the country. Like the BC team would mercy them in the first inning, right? And so a lot of the kids on his team would cry and fake injuries. And he's like, oh, this is awesome. I'll play. And so he earned the respect of his coaches. Following year, got to play a little bit more. More importantly, he grew to be 6'7", and every coach saw some promise there, turned him into a pitcher. And yeah, he turned lackluster hockey career into a bit of a baseball career. He just finished up his last season at Ottawa U. But for a guy who's totally focused on hockey day in, day out, it was awesome to watch my son do something different, do something where I couldn't get on his case. I don't know what to do at a 2-2 count, Unless Buck Martinez tells me what he should have done, I don't really know. But yeah, it was awesome to follow. And that's obviously what brought me towards Jim. Is I love the Night Owls. I can go to Jim, I don't know how many, 10 a year, maybe I'm there.
Yeah, maybe even more than that. Actually, you've thrown a first pitch out, and we thought it wasn't bad. If there wasn't that much gray,
it did scuff. It scuffed the ground for sure.
If there wasn't as much gray in the beard, we might have found a way to sign you and get you involved. But
yeah, I know, I love it. You talk about a great way to spend a early evening with the climate being what it is out here, and have a beer and listen to Parksy cheer on the players. It's fun.
It is. And I'm going to ask you about that. It's, you've been one of the first guys to really embrace the Night Owls since we've been in town. Now this will be the 4th season coming up, and you and I connected real early in my time, working with the Nanaimo franchise, and nothing but fun for us to be able to sit and watch a game, the bathtub bar in center field, or in the stands in behind, or whatever. And your players and some of the people with the organization have really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like I said, it's great. My wife's best friend is a Night Owl billet too, so I've actually go down for a barbecue every couple of weeks and get to know the players that have stayed there. And you're connected with an athlete too, so there's somebody to actually cheer on when you're there. it adds to the whole thing, but the product is good. Like, I love you, you're a great guy, but I wouldn't keep coming back unless the product was good, right? Like, it's not like those beers are that cheap or the food's
Yeah,
that cheap. It's reasonable, like anything, but
yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
a great way to spend an evening or an afternoon. Love it. I'll be back this year a bunch.
I don't know if you know this, Cody, but Colin's got his team on one of the hot streaks in the BCH. I don't think anybody is hotter than the Clippers right now. Points in 10 straight games. Really turned it around since Christmas. You know, Cody, what are you anticipating? I want to ask you this question. What are you anticipating about coaching? You've played Nanaimo. You've come through the system in Nanaimo. You've watched the Clippers and how that's all played. What do you think it's going to be like coaching in a place like Nanaimo that has this much excitement for sports and this much of I mean, it's a real total sports town.
Yeah, no, I think people are very passionate about, their sports and then you look at the Nanaimo Clippers and how much success they've had over the years and how they sustain that. And, everyone wants to go watch someone that wins hockey games or wins baseball games. That's what brings people into the seats. And I think it's just like coaching with anything. I think, when you're winning, there's going to be a lot of fans there and there's going to be a lot of excitement. And when you're losing, you gotta quickly turn the page and get back on that win streak to get the fans engaged and believe in what we're doing. I think Nanaimo is a very tough market in the sense of, if you don't have success, they'll get on you really quick. And if you have success, they're gonna be right there to cheer for you and be there with you the whole time. So, what the Nanaimo Clippers have done over the course of of time is sustain success. And that's what I would like to bring to the Nanaimo Night Owls is bring that success that we have each and every year of making the playoffs, going deep in the playoffs, winning a championship, doing all those things that are going to bring excitement to the ballpark, right? So
How's it been for you, Colin? To talk about, I mean, you're an Ontario guy, and by the way, Cody, you may not know this, but Colin's great uncle is Don Cherry.
I did. That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
really
so
cool.
coming from out there, I want to ask you about that. How well do you know Don, Colin? I want to know about. I don't know about
Only met him once in a grocery store. But I like on a personal level, like he knew who I was, and I was coaching the team in where he lives in Kingston, right? So we had a chat in the grocery store. We talked family connection, and he thought that was pretty cool. I know my grandfather, who passed away a couple years ago, was more in communication with him on a more frequent basis, and so I hear a lot through him. And actually, yeah, mom's maiden name is Cherry, so that's the proof. The only other proof I got's a bobblehead on my desk right beside the Night Owls' first pitch ball. So
I like it. I like
both
it.
things can exist.
I like
But
it.
yeah,
So
what's
talk about coaching in Nanaimo, what it's been like for you. You're a transplanted in Ontario, and there's a lot of transplanted people that live in Nanaimo and on the island, so not unusual at all. I am.
Yeah, it's been an experience for sure. Overwhelmingly positive. That's not to say there hasn't been dips and lulls and some negative experiences, but that's like anything, right? I've been here 6 years. I started as an assistant. Coming from Ontario junior to BC junior, it's a huge jump, both in terms of play, but in terms of expectations and people caring in the community. We'd have big crowds in the playoffs, but 400 or 500 people on a weekend game type of thing. And then we get out here and, our home opener was a sellout, and I'm an assistant coach going, oh man, this is something different. But it was probably a good way to enter the league. Just work hard, no real pressure on an assistant coach, so to speak, other than internal. Then I got the opportunity to take over the program, and we went on a 12-0 run to the league finals. And I felt like there was a million people in Nanaimo behind me. And then we got banged up in the finals. Be quite frank, played a much better team than us, and we got swept. And the media timeout, game 4, home ice, we're about to lose the championship. Yeah, our guys got booed. It's like it could be ruthless, but that same kind of ruthless passion that they have here is why kids choose coming to Nanaimo over other programs. Like, our fans boo the refs, they harass the other team, they harass the refs as they're getting on and off the ice. We were down. Just a quick story. We had that tough start this year. We lost some players, hit by the injury bug, and coming back from Christmas, I knew things were going to get better. We solidified the goaltending, got some depth players, but we were playing Vic on alumni night. We had a big crowd down too late, and what an opportunity for the fans to heap on and boo us, right? But instead, they cheered the guys on, they harassed the refs, and honest to God, you could hear the players on the bench talking about that support, not wanting to let them down. Bang, bang, it's 4-4, and then we win it in overtime, and the roof comes off. And you're not getting that experience. I can only speak for the BCHL, but you're not getting that kind of experience in every rink. And so overall, it's a positive, but you're not going to get those positive experiences if you don't play in a market where the expectations are set. You have to be good, right? And there'll be pressure, but pressure makes diamonds, and there's nothing you can do. Just cancel out the noise and work harder. Nobody, when we were doing poorly, nobody was throwing you life preservers. They're throwing you anvils. So you just put your head down, get to work with your staff, keep the players positive, keep the atmosphere as good as you can, and you'll come out of it. And we have.
Absolutely. The thing you just touched on there is one of my questions actually, is about that rivalry. We don't have, in the West Coast League, we've got 2 island teams. We don't have, was it 5? Counting Powell River. So maybe help. Cody knows the Nanaimo Victoria rivalry to some degree, but I think coming back to coaching it, what advice would you have for him when it comes to coming out on top of that with the Victoria Harbor Cats being the other island team in the West Coast League?
Like, something has to happen, right? Like this, something has to happen. I don't know if it's a pitch high and in a big game. I don't know the rules of baseball that way. For us, we didn't have much of I didn't know the rivalry when I came in. It was Powell River. Powell River had beaten Nanaimo out of the playoffs 2 years in a row when I got here. But when I got here, Powell River, they weren't very good. We played Alberni first round in the playoffs. We swept them. So instantly their fans hate us. Vic, we didn't get a chance to play in the playoffs my first few years. So I didn't really sense a rivalry there. There was a rivalry with Cowichan that felt like it was brewing. And when you figure, their head coach had been let go, like, I think Christmas Eve here one year. So I don't know the whole story, but there's some animosity between the guy I worked for and the head coach of Cowichan. So I kind of got thrust into that. But it's super unique, like having all those teams on an island in close proximity. I've learned to hate each and every one of them equally. How about that?
Cody, what are your thoughts on that rivalry piece? I mean, the Harbor Cats and the Night Owls play each other 9 times this year, which is the high water mark, right, for the number of games we'll play against one team.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely something that, even I was watching some of our players that have played there. I think there's definitely, you can see the emotions are a little risen in those games. I think that, the people take a lot of pride in that. And I can kind of look back to it as when I was coaching over at Lindsey Wilson and we were playing Campbellsville University. And we call it the Battle of Highway 55. We're both on the same highway, about 20 minutes apart. And you never want to lose to Campbellsville, and they never want to lose to Lindsay. So it's just, creating that kind of, I guess it would be animosity towards each other. One do it in a respectful way, is that's the way I like to coach and the way we are going to go about our business. But I think, if you can create those heated games where you go extra innings, or you create those games where there's a big moment in the game and emotions get going, I think that's what, we're going to try to build on. And I'll tell you what, Victoria's not going to beat us at our home park. It's just not going to happen.
I wanted to ask you both about this. I'm going to come back to you first, Cody, on this one. You both have been impacted. I'm becoming a reporter here again a bit with this question. You've both been impacted here recently, and even more so with you, Colin, recently, with changes at the NCAA level. What that's doing to you, Cody, at the NAIA baseball level, is the roster limitations and NIL money and all the things going on. How is that changing your job? Colin, I want you to answer the same question with regard to the junior hockey ruling from the Western Hockey League to the NCAA. But Cody first, please.
Yeah, I think, a lot of kids that want to go play Division I now aren't going to have the opportunity to go do that with the roster sizes getting shrunk down to 35. The transfer portal, we can go pick any kid out of there that we pretty much want or need. And that kind of aspect. And what, the NIL money's done is we're going to be missing out on that top tier kid that we used to have because we can't offer NIL money where I'm at currently. Now there's other teams within the NAI level that do offer NIL money, and even Division IIs are offering NIL. So it's kind of creating you need to kind of create a collective with your alumni association to go and get that top tier kind of player. But at the same time, I think, the kids that we were going to get top tier before, they're not on Division I rosters anymore. They're going junior college or Division II or NAI because there's 15 less kids on the roster at Division I level. So I think it kind of balances itself out at our level. I think it's making it a little harder for high school kids to come in and have an impact, like maybe they did 4 or 5 years ago. Just because we can go get a transfer that's played 3-4 years, or we can go get that junior college kid maybe we couldn't get before because he's not going to Division I. So I think it's more impacting the high school athlete, probably more so Canadian high school athletes that are trying to go to a 4-year level. I just don't think it's probably the most realistic thing for a lot of kids anymore. They're going to have to look at going junior college, or if they're going Division I right out of high school, then they're obviously an elite player, like some of them do. So I think that's kind of how that's impacted us.
Colin, how about you on that one? That's it's been a massive shift for you guys at the BCHL level.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, it kind of hammered the hockey world out of nowhere, right? That ruling came out, and within weeks, I lost 8 players to varying degrees of importance to the program. But without being disrespectful, we lost, a couple of players that probably weren't ready to make an impact yet, and you could live with that. But we lost a lot of impact guys. A lot of advisors got involved and saw an opportunity for some, I don't know if it's notoriety or exposure, but they encouraged their players to play in the CHL. Now that avenue was opened. So that was kind of the first wave of effects, kind of hammered the BCHL and the USHL and other junior A leagues across Canada. Because at that moment, it was a one-way street, right? Kids could, go back. We have a French kid from Quebec. He now could go back home and play in the Quebec League and still go to the University of Connecticut. So you can't begrudge a kid for leaving. We left on good terms with all of our players, but losing 8 players stinks, right? So that's kind of the first shoe to drop. And if you've been paying attention, you've noticed that there's a lot of kids committing to college from the CHL. A lot of them are older, so it doesn't look too disruptive to the CHL level yet. But I'm led to believe by college coaches that the other shoe's about to drop here as the CHL season comes to a close. And a lot of 18, 19-year-olds are going to be leaving CHL programs to go to college early. So how is the CHL going to manage that? I don't imagine they're going to be wanting to be in the business of losing their top 17, 18, 19-year-old talent. But that's going to happen at least in the short term. So I guess we'll know a lot more about the hockey landscape when we see how the CHL reacts to news in the spring, if that makes any sense.
It does. I mean, the other shoe I think that's part to drop there is you wonder how many of the guys who've already committed, I'll do the kind of the quote air quotes around it, to scholarships end up finding out those get pulled on them when some of the schools in the NCAA decide they'd rather have a player from the CHL. That 18, 19-year-old level hasn't committed yet. So how much filter down domino fall will happen with that as well, right?
Well, yeah. The other thing too is a player might get his foot in the door. I don't know if this is what you meant, but a player gets his foot in the door year one. Has a typical freshman year, plays in 60% of the games, and has 3 points. he's going to be looking over his shoulder, right? Because it's a feeding frenzy out there. Basically they open the door for 3 new leagues worth of players to come in. There's a lot of pressure on them to win at their level, and the quickest way to success, unfortunately, is new good players or a change in coaching staff. But a lot of those coaches are on 4 or 5 year deals, so they're going to turn to the player. And in addition to that, the transfer portal has muddied the waters. But
Yep.
yeah, it's going to be really, really difficult. And then there's certain NCAA programs that are going to be able to get, I won't name names because they're kids, but get the marquee CHL guys. We know who we're talking about. There's only probably a few programs at the dance for a player like that. And then, the other programs got to figure out, like, does it make sense to get a second, third, fourth tier kid from the Western League, or should we get like the best of the best from the BCHL? Right now, the CHL's exciting and they're all dipping their toe in that, but I've seen kids commit in that league out of that league that wouldn't be impact players in our league, and it's going to take some time for them to kind of sort that out. So it's been stressful, but I don't think it's the beginning of the end for the BCHL at all. We're constantly having meetings and we're talking about changes to the roster to make sure our product is going to be good. The amount of young college commits in our league might be different, but we may have an older league. It will probably be a lot older than the Western League. So in terms of the entertainment product, which is what people are paying to watch, there's a scenario here whereby you come watch the Clippers next year, and the year after you're watching even better hockey than you've seen the last couple of years, which for the fans should be exciting. For us, in terms of how we recruit, what schools and agents we deal with, that's definitely become a little murkier. But at the end of the day, the product will be better.
At University, the UCLA baseball and North Dakota hockey, just alike, they're all making adjustments right now. Everybody from those guys right down to, I guess, the junior B levels. It's going to be an adjustment for everybody at that level. Same with what Cody was saying with the baseball side. There's just everybody is having to make adjustments from what the portal has done. I had a Division I coach the other day called Portal Ball 2025, and I thought that was a great line. And he was a coach who's missing 3 starting pitchers and his starting shortstop who were off on visits to other schools while they were still at his school, which is unbelievable to think that was happening. So the adjustments that are going to have to be made, excuse me, for you guys, and then at the college baseball level as well for Cody. Listen, guys, I appreciate your time today. Got a little cold here going on.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Everybody's got something going around these days. I appreciate your time today, and I'm looking forward to getting the two of you guys together when Cody gets back to his hometown from Pikeville and get that all together. Because Colin, I know you'll be at the games, and well, Cody, you kind of have to. You're under contract to be at the games, so
yeah, I'll be there.
There you go. You won't miss any. I know you won't. So I appreciate your time here, guys. I thought it'd be great to at least introduce you guys this way and talk about some of these issues and talk about Nanaimo and how much of a great sports town it is. So thanks for this. I'll sign off with it, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Okay.
All right, appreciate you, Tim. Thank you.
Good luck, Cody.
Hey, thanks. You too, Colin. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Illuminate the dark, I'll spread your wings, pierce through the night, let your wisdom sing.